In a scenario that is very common, companies are formed to make new medical diagnostic measurements, to improve the performance of existing measurements, or to make the measurement in a cheaper or more convenient manner. This process often involves a core technical staff composed of a hardware engineering group, a software engineering group, and a data analysis group. Now, the typical development cycle consists of a financing event, building or refining the instrument platform, conducting clinical studies, and processing the data to demonstrate readiness for the next phase. This final processing step often involves sophisticated signal processing or predictive algorithms that have to convert raw, noisy, imperfect data into a clean, understandable result that achieves the desired target performance. It is during this time that the data analysis group is on the hot seat. Location on the critical path, as well as delays in other stages of the development, often puts the data analysis group under enormous time pressure. And this pressure can be exacerbated by issues with the performance of the prototype instrument, or unforeseen errors or biases in the clinical study, or reference problems associated with the gold standard. At this point, other employees, management, and the board of directors are looking to the data analysis group to complete their activity so the company can move forward. Although these data analysts are typically extraordinarily capable, the enormous pressure, time constraints, and long hours of work can lead to mistakes or can stifle creative problem solving. Sometimes that means taking shortcuts on the code and infrastructure development, or code validation is not rigorously completed. Mistakes can happen. The data analysis group will put in superhuman efforts in an attempt to produce the needed results. They may start sleeping in the office or forego sleep altogether. Although clearly noble, such practices are not the best approach. Despite the data analysis group's best efforts, the data may simply be too complex, or perhaps the search space is too large with a toolbox that is too small to generate the results needed in the time allowed. This leads to slippage in timelines and, eventually, an angry board of directors. Predictive algorithm development is poorly understood by most boards, and communicating progress on data analysis can be challenging. The combination of missed timelines, a lack of tangible progress, and a general erosion of confidence turns the board into an angry mob that is concerned primarily with their investment. At this juncture, the CEO and board of directors will look at the options available for the company to address their data analysis bottleneck. There are 4 general options. 1, the company could close, but this is likely premature given data that suggests adequate performance is within reach. 2, the company could simply continue the current approach. But continuing to execute a process that has failed to generate results and expecting success is bordering on insanity and often goes against the instincts of most venture investors. 3, they could increase the internal capabilities of the company, which can be effective, but most data analysis or algorithm development activities are short-lived or transient in nature. The company requires an enormous expertise, but only for a finite period of time. If the company does decide to build an internal analysis group, it is an expensive and slow process, and upon completion of the data analysis, the board and management will want to decrease the size of the analysis group, given the significant salary expense required to maintain it. These reductions in staff can be demoralizing to small companies. So, even though building an internal group is feasible, it is typically not considered given the many problems it creates. The 4th and final option is to hire external consultants, which is the typical approach employed by most companies. This approach may look attractive on the surface, but it is incredibly difficult to implement effectively. During this period of crisis, the internal data analysis group is the company's most valuable resource, but they are stretched thin. The team's data analysis professionals understand the problem, the instrument, the existing data, and nuances that are critical to solving the problem, but they likely have a backlog of solutions to investigate. Hiring and organizing external consultants typically requires that the company's most valuable resource, the data analysis group, focus on the operational issues rather than the solution to the data analysis problems. The finite resources of the data analysis group are stretched even further. The stress of the situation may be compounded by the internal data analysis group's inexperience and acumen in hiring, and sophisticated program management may represent a new, needed skill. Additionally, small companies may not have the infrastructure needed for multiple people to successfully work on complex predictive algorithm development. A group of external consultants do not constitute a team, and typically do not work in a coordinated fashion. As individuals, they utilize different tools, different software platforms, and different data output structures. They may generate a flurry of activity, but in the absence of a cohesive, structured approach, the results are likely to be subpar and represent a wasteful investment. Medici Technologies was established to fill this void in data analysis capabilities. By providing critical resources, years of experience in teamwork, and project coordination, Medici is able to accelerate the internal data analysis capabilities of your company. When hiring Medici, you are obtaining a structured approach supported by a team of individuals with diverse expertise who know how to work together, as well as an established program management process and a modular toolbox for rapid data processing and algorithm development. The Medici process integrates smoothly with your company's analysis team. Your company is already invested in these individuals, and their depth of knowledge and historical experience with the problem are critical to resolving residual issues. Your internal team most likely has a multitude of ideas for solving the problem, but the solutions are typically pursued in a sequential fashion. This can be a remarkably time-consuming process due to code development and review, and computer processing resources may be limited. Medici Technologies accelerates development by enabling your company to pursue multiple ideas in parallel and directly comparing results. Medici's Rapid Assessment System is a modular framework for predictive algorithm development that enables rapid assessment of multiple combinations of processing methodologies and the associated parameter spaces. New methods can be easily plugged into the framework and implemented in the toolbox. This capability, when combined with your company's internal resources, creates an optimal combination of expertise and modular tools for solving the data analysis or modeling problem. Medici is a well-oiled analytical machine composed of program management, algorithm development, and sub-modeling capabilities. Predictive algorithm development tends to degenerate into chaotic or non-deterministic research process. Medici Technologies has developed the tools and techniques to effectively manage and track the progress of predictive algorithm development. This process starts with absolute clarity on the objectives and domain space where a solution may exist. It is critical that all individuals, from the board to the data analysis group, have complete clarity and agreement on the objectives of the algorithm development activity. The next step is to pragmatically assess the risks associated with the project. These risks should be ranked and, to a feasible extent, addressed as early as possible and afforded appropriate resources. These two activities, in combination with a general understanding of the project, allow the completion of the work breakdown structure. Communication and visibility are essential components of the Medici approach. Progress dashboards and performance leaderboards create clarity on objectives and reinforce the importance. Dashboards play a critical role in communicating overall progress to the board, management, and other employees. During this period of stress, it's remarkably important to communicate to all interested parties about both the plan and the overall progress. These foundational inputs enable the development of a pragmatic and informed project timeline. Many times, project timelines are developed and then placed in a drawer and not used. Medici Technologies believes that project timelines are, in fact, the best tool for project management and should be examined, updated, and challenged on a daily basis. The ability to examine, process, and understand complex analytical problems is facilitated by having modular tools, parallel capabilities, and reporting mechanisms that enable a detailed examination of each algorithm approach investigated. Medici's Rapid Assessment System is composed of a large codebase, a computing cluster, algorithm status messaging system, and results databases. The Rapid Assessment System can quickly create a large number of processing recipes that contain varying combinations of pre-processing techniques, feature selection methods, noise filtering, regression methods, and submodeling. These recipes are all evaluated in experiments that can involve hundreds to thousands of different processing recipes within a controlled framework. The use of such controlled data analysis experiments enables Medici to effectively search for the best processing methods and to identify subtleties within the data, as well as identify interactions that may be unobserved when changing one variable at a time. The resulting statistical analysis of the results enables Medici Technologies to identify the most effective methods, their optimal parameters, and any hidden interactions. These results are used to further optimize performance by predicting superior processing recipes that have not yet been evaluated. Results are further examined for stability, robustness, and predictive performance. The weeding out of inefficient algorithms continues until a final predictive algorithm with improved performance is selected. The entire algorithm development process is highly structured, modular, efficient, and very effective. The last element of the Medici analytical toolbox is a very powerful and differentiated element, a submodeling or physiological segmentation for improved algorithm performance. Population segmentation, for the purposes of product placement or advertising, has been used very successfully by companies like Google, Netflix, Amazon, and Target, among others. These companies have divided the population based on buying characteristics so that advertising can be targeted to a given demographic. Medici Technologies has developed a toolbox for population segmentation based on physiological differences that allows for improved measurement results. The value of the approach is easily appreciated if you consider eye prescriptions, for example. If everyone were required to use the same prescription, it would work for some people, but not for others. The process of determining the correct prescription starts with population segmentation based on the focal characteristics and size of the eye. Using this information, the ophthalmologist is able to prescribe the correct prescription. Ophthalmology prescriptions are not specific for just one person, but rather for a general segment of the population that has similar vision characteristics. The ability to segment the population based on measurable physiological parameters can be extremely powerful when physiological differences impact the measurement performance and accuracy. Medici has developed methodologies to determine subpopulations that have similar characteristics in order to facilitate improved measurement performance. Medici allows smaller life science companies the ability to access predictive tools previously only available to much larger companies. If you're looking for an optimized, effective, low-risk approach to reach your analytical goals, call us. Medici Technologies has the organizational expertise, processing capabilities, and the teamwork skills to help.